It's Children's Mental Health Week, and we're exploring the power of paying attention to what's going on inside, discovering clues from our thoughts, our feelings, and our bodies. Hello, I'm Kathryn Lovewell, author of the Inner Detective Journal, a gentle guide to help young children make sense of their inner world, especially when life feels difficult. We are shining a light on the importance of children's mental health, so every child has the opportunity to learn skills to respond to themselves kindly when things go wrong, which they inevitably will. So let's hear from one of our special guests now. So welcome everyone. I have another wonderful guest for Children's Mental Health Week, the lovely Gozde Pehlivan from Cyprus. Thank you so much for joining us, Gozde. Gozde has such amazing experience as a psychologist, a couples counsellor, and of course, most especially, she is a mindful self-compassion trained teacher as well. She's also a mum of a 12-year-old boy. And so we're going to pull all of these threads together and explore how mental health can support our families, individuals, our children especially. But most importantly, we'll look at why mental health is so important. So thanks so much for being here. Let's start with, what does mental health mean to you as a psychologist, as a counsellor, as a mum?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm
Pleasure.
really glad I'm here. Mental health is one of the most important things in life. Most of the time, we pay attention to the physical health. When we have a chest pain, when we have a knee pain, when we have a throat pain, we go to the doctors, we go to the experts. But when we have problems or difficulties, the way we think, the way we feel, the way we build relationship with other people, the way we perceive ourselves or the society of the world, and it just breaks our hearts. We just don't pay that much attention, and it's so wrong, because I believe it's the center of everything. Mental health is so important.
I love the way you've described that, because you're absolutely right. No one would bat an eyelid if a child had broken their wrist or hurt their foot. Oh yes, off to hospital, we'll sort that out. Let's see a doctor. And there's no stigma, there's no judgment. But if a child's hurting inside, if there's pain in their mind or heart, then there seems to still be, even in the 21st century, this resistance to seek support, which is,
Yes.
as you say, absolutely crazy, really, because we're all parts, we're mind, body, and heart.
Exactly. It's changing. I'm trying to be more optimistic. It's changing. It was way worse when I was a young person, and when I was, studying psychology. Many people were not coming to my office, or they were coming with a, shh, don't tell anyone, because it was something to be ashamed of back then. Nowadays, it's getting better, but not as much as we want it to be yet.
So, what do you find are the biggest struggles? Because we are obviously at the Booster Way, and for this Inner Detective Journal, we are wanting to catch our children young to prevent, to embed good, healthy approaches to the struggles in life. But
Yes.
if that isn't embedded, like it certainly wasn't with me when I was a child, and we get to adulthood, what's the result of that? What sort of struggles are you meeting in your office?
Well, if a person cannot really catch and make contact with what's going inside, so many problems might arise. Depression, anxiety, attention problems, learning disabilities, behavioral problems, relationship problems. So these are the things I see in couples, in adult individuals, and sometimes when couples come and talk about their children at home, they also talk about those things: screen addiction, attention deficit disorder, hyperactivity, or just not being in touch with the feelings, and kids being all around the place, because they don't know how to regulate themselves. They don't know how to be in touch with their feelings. They don't even know the names of the feelings, the names of the emotions, because we don't teach them. It's not their fault. We don't teach them in the families. But like courses like the Booster Way probably will be enormously effective on children and on families, because now people have an idea about what's going on and how those, voices are, how important they are.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because we've got this challenge that we haven't taught our children. We find it difficult to teach our children because we haven't been taught, we haven't got those skills. And I know I learned them later in life. 11 years ago, I finally picked up this skill set that has radically changed the way I approach myself. I relate to myself, I relate to others, and the struggles that we inevitably face as humans. So if we have those skills as adults, then we know we can support our children because we will have the language. But interestingly, it's almost like we have to do it the other way around now, support our children and help the adults in the room with those children to develop that language together.
Together, yes.
So what sort of things would you recommend you help the families that you're working with to start to develop these skills to self-regulate, to understand their thoughts and feelings, and how we can make sense of the struggles that we go through?
Well, it's like school sometimes in the therapy sessions. We need to educate them psychologically. Sometimes they don't even know what's an emotion, what's a sensation, what is the difference between a thought and a feeling. So I try to teach them the emotions, how they affect our body, sensations, the names of those emotions, what kind of thoughts lead to what kind of emotion. So it's like a circle, and when they grasp the idea, and when they realize that they actually can um feel the emotions, feel where they are, take a few deep breaths, just give themselves some compassion, some kindness, some space to feel that emotion, some space to just sit with that emotions and take a few deep breaths, give themselves a few soothing touch. They realize that there is this, okay, now everything makes more sense. I can stay there and it wouldn't kill me. And I can just be around those thoughts and emotions. I can be just an observer and just stay out of it, not be in it, but just observing from the outside and see what's happening, so that they have this ability now to change, to change the emotion, to change the way they think mostly, and of course, to change the way they behave.
Yes. So it's really empowering the adult and the child, whomever's in the room with you, because really we're all children with grown-up clothes on, I think. I think, especially when it comes to self-regulation and how we react, I've certainly witnessed it, that if we aren't taught these skills, that we can be in charge of how we react, how we think about or perceive a situation, and we can feel really helpless to, well, I'm just going to erupt or I'm just going to shut down. But actually, if we've got these resources inside, we see that. I love the way you talked about the spaciousness, and I believe our children really need more space. They have so much bombardment all the time. There is no space. If they're in inner cities, I know one of my sons didn't even have a field to go and play in, and their playground was small. That was at secondary school because it was all so built up, and they kept having to build classrooms, and the playground got smaller and smaller. And children, they need that space, I think, physically as well as mentally and emotionally.
They learn through playing, and play should be outside, in the open air, fresh air, movement. Movement heals. Nowadays, unfortunately, our children do not move as much as they did before. Yeah.
Yes, there's so many aspects to how we can support a child's mental health. What would you say would be the first step? What would you encourage a child if they were struggling and feeling down, or maybe just have those experiences of anxiety or that tension in the body? What would you guide a child or young person to consider, or to how to support themselves?
Well, probably I would go next to that person, next to that little person first, and just be with him, sitting next to him, and saying things like, it's okay. It's okay to feel this way. Oh, yeah, I've been there before. I kind of know how you feel. So, first, I think the most important thing is validation. Validate those emotions. And if he wants to talk, of course, but mostly children cannot really talk. They don't have the language enough to talk about their feelings. So maybe I would ask, seems like there is an uneasiness in you. Where does it locate? Oh, shall we put our hands there and just have a couple of breaths? Not fixing, just being with the emotions and giving him space to feel whatever he is feeling, so that he wouldn't think that what he's feeling is wrong, because there is no wrong emotion. There are wrong actions, there are problematic thoughts, dysfunctional thoughts, but there are no wrong emotions. So probably what I would do first is to validate and listen. Most of the people think that communication is all about talking, talking, talking. I don't think so. We need to have this listening ears and heart, and just giving space, listening, observing, being there with this little person, because he's struggling, obviously. I believe if they're given that emotional safety and comfort, they would open up on their own pace.
Beautiful. I'm feeling that sort of empathetic resonance of there's a human here and I'm a human. We're sitting here, our hearts, we have that opportunity to open our hearts. And if there's any parents watching this and their child is struggling, I think this is a lovely first step to help them feel reassured that they don't have to find the answer, and they can just be with their child, listen, because of course as parents we do want to fix, we don't want our children to suffer, we do
Yeah.
want to help and make better. And that's certainly been one of my biggest challenges as a mum, to step back, to allow this hurts. We don't
Yeah.
want our children to hurt, to know and to show them in quite an embodied way that they will be all right. They have the resources inside and we're right beside them.
Exactly. We're right beside them.
Mm.
I mean, as a mom, not as a psychologist, but as a mom at home, I get frustrated too. When my child is having a heartache, when he's confused, when he's, uninspired and like long face. I want to fix. I want to. I always jump into conclusions on what happened. Probably this and this happened. But then I just try to stop myself, because no, that's not really helping. So I give myself the permission to not knowing what his problem is and not knowing how I'm going to fix it, and also accepting that I'm not really supposed to fix it. And then I go next to him again and just try to be there for him. It's always easier when you're in your office, but it's harder when you're at home.
That's right, because the heart's all entangled and enmeshed, and you have that empathetic resonance, that connection, that and lovely entanglement, and of course, wanting to relieve any suffering. When we've got our professional hat on, there's that little bit more space to be able to hold the difficulty. I hear you. So I know that we need to close. I'm so appreciative of you sharing your expertise and that beautiful, I mean, anyone that has the opportunity to sit with you is truly blessed.
Thank
Just
you.
feeling your love and care. And I think that's a reminder, isn't it? Can we bring love and care to ourselves. If we're a child, can we bring that to ourselves? Feels a bit strange at first. Our cultures don't encourage that overtly yet. But if we are an adult supporting a child, remembering that we may not be able to fix or change the challenges that that child is facing, but we can demonstrate that love and care, and that will impact their energy and hopefully provide that sense of soothing mind, body, and heart. Oh, thank you so much, Gozda. I really appreciate your time, and it's been a real privilege to just sit in your presence and actually I feel much all soothed myself just listening to your voice and the care that pours out of you. So thank you ever so much. This Children's Mental Health Week is the richer for having listened to you. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you.
If you found this curious conversation helpful, the Inner Detective Journal might be just what you need. It's a gentle, powerful way to help young children build lifelong coping skills with kindness from within. Click the link to get your copy for your child, your class, maybe your entire organization if they've got children, so you can help them through the tough times. Let's keep listening and keep supporting children's mental health together.